On June 24th, two historical events, if not more, took place in Washington, D.C. and in the heavens. This is VFI News for you. So as I mentioned, on June 24th, two historical events took place, one in the heavens and one on earth. Because first, as in if perfect order, the planets of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn aligned in perfect sequence. I love perfection. And so we have a God who is perfect. Now, perfectly positioned they were, as Yoda said, and to top it off, the thin crescent moon was parked between Venus and Mars in the lineup. Great! There was parking space, even for the crescent moon. The heavens were rejoicing as another historical event took place on Earth. The Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade by a vote of 5-4, the conservative justices. Justice Samuel Alito wrote in the court's majority opinion, "We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled." Now that was based on another case, a case from the state of Mississippi. In that vote was 6-3. So that was another victory. Going on to what Alito said, quote, "The Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision, including the one which the defenders of Roe and Casey now chiefly rely, the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment." Roe v. Wade, just to remind those who are watching VFI News, was the legal case which the United States Supreme Court ruled on in January 22nd, 1973. A lady named Norma McCorvey was the real name of Jane Roe. She was used by the left-wing progressives, pro-abortion lawyers, and never even took the stand in court, nor even had an abortion. She has since long ago died. She was used as a pawn, and in my opinion, also a sacrifice to Satan's desire to murder the unborn in the wombs of millions of women. Sarah Weddington was the name of the lawyer who defended Roe, or Norma McCorvey, and she herself had an abortion down in Mexico around that time. The original excuse for this case was the right to an abortion for an unwanted pregnancy due to rape or incest. Some folks may feel this is justified. You need to study the law books more about this and come with your own decisions. The truth of the matter is that it has become a lie and excuse for most women to simply abort or murder a baby due to self-centeredness and selfishness and ignorance of what ultrasound technology has brought us a greater understanding of. According to an earlier report in USA Today back on May 24th, 2019, just 1% of women obtained an abortion because they became pregnant through rape, and less than 0.5% do so because of incest, according to the Guttmacher Institute. This means that of the nearly 64 million babies aborted in the United States since Roe v. Wade in 1973, only about 700,000 abortions were due to this reasoning. The land of the United States is stained with the murder of over 63 million aborted fetuses, aborted babies. A rape and incest exemption would still ban more than 98% of all abortions today. The blood of innocence cries out. Now I want to talk about the Hippocratic Oath, which was written around 400 BC. And this is commonly used and an oath taken by the medical professionals and doctors. First of all, the Hippocratic Oath that says in Latin, primum non nocere, means first do no harm. I would like to read more what's translated into the English from that oath, and here goes. Quote, "I will use those dietary regimens which will benefit my patients according to the greatest of my ability and judgment, and I will do no harm or injustice to them." Isn't it interesting that throughout many decades, only recently have we begun to see dietary advice and regimens for the betterment of health and preventing sickness being recommended? For the pharmaceutical industry has profited greatly from selling pills. Going on though, quoting from the Hippocratic Oath, I will not give a lethal drug to anyone if I am asked, nor will I advise such a plan. And similarly, I will not give a woman a pessary to cause an abortion. Yes, that's what it said, going all the way back to 400 BC. Quote, in purity and according to divine law will I carry out my life and my art. I will not use the knife even upon those suffering from stones, but I will leave this to those who are trained in this craft. Into whatever homes I go, I will enter them for the benefit of the sick, avoiding any voluntary act of impropriety or corruption, including the seduction of women or men, whether they are free men or slaves. Very powerful that this was written all the way back then. So here it is, the new and continuing diabolical method to get around the Supreme Court laws, returning authority to individual states to vote on what is happening now as a result of the 2 Supreme Court decisions that were made on June 24th. According to Planned Parenthood, which is the abortion mill, murderous mill, as you can see, you take an abortion pill now. The first pill is called mifepristone. This medicine stops the pregnancy from growing. The second medicine, taken within 48 hours after the first pill, is called misoprostol. This medicine causes cramping and bleeding to empty your uterus. And of all the nerve and chutzpah, the media outlets such as CNN and NBC have promoted a website that connects women with overseas pharmacies to provide abortion pills in light of the Supreme Court's decision. This is known as Plan C. And last Friday, there were over 209,000 visitors to the website that day. NBC News has also joined the fight against pregnancy crisis centers who are trying to help women. And by the way, adoption is an option. So let's put it bluntly. The media fixers and empires are complicit in the murder of unborn children. Now, on a more positive note, let's look at the roots of Hebrew in the words that talk about mercy and compassion. For the Hebrew word for a woman's womb is rechem. You can say that word after me. Rechem. Yes, that is a woman's womb. The Hebrew word for mercy is rachamim, from the same root letters, which means compassion, mercy, and pity. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31 declares, quote, the Lord your God is a God of mercy, rachum. Lamentations chapter 3:32 says that God's mercies, rachamav, never come to an end. In Psalm 22 verse 10 it reads, I was cast upon you from the womb, rechem, you are my God from my mother's belly. In other words, the body of an unborn child is separate within the woman's womb and has a life of its own. The prophet Isaiah likens Israel's creation and salvation to being carried in a divine womb. This should show to each and every one of us how God's mercy is bountiful and works. In closing, let me tell you this very happy, positive testimony from our own personal experience. For when my wife was pregnant with our son, about 4 to 5 months in, he would kick up a storm at night. He didn't want to go to bed, but you could see this little foot pounding against her belly. So I would sing a song from Psalm 136, verse 1. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. And when I would sing this song to him in Hebrew, Hodu la'Adonai ki tov, which you can see at YouTube at Barry and Batya Segal, it's called Hodu la'Adonai. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. As I would sing this, you would see him settle down, stop kicking, and go to sleep. Well, when he was born, I would sing this song to him as he cuddled next to my wife. And as I sang it, you could see his eyes looking up like, I've heard that song for many weeks and months before. Remember, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever. Hodu la'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. We say this in Hebrew prayers all the time, and I would appreciate you sending your comments and writing me your questions. That's what VFI News is all about. And with that, I can say these words: have faith. Amen.